speaking of ridiculous, we have Tony Khan here. Tony Khan talking about regarding AEW not booking smaller venues for shows. So Fightful asked them. Thanks, someone had the balls to ask them. But basically, they're told amenities, how nice the venue is, ease of access, parking, mailing lists, the ability to open up additional sections, and concession staff are all reasons why the company chooses to run bigger venues. So just rich guy every day is a super sweet 16. Like, I don't get it. Amenities, what does that mean? Like mirrors that Tony Khan can chop up? Never mind. Sorry, YouTube. But like, you know,
booking ideas.
Yeah, like how nice the venue is. Okay, so there's no nice smaller venues. I don't know what he's trying to say. Ease of access, so everyone can get to these buildings easier is what he's saying, I guess, with that mailing list. What the does that have to do with the building? The ability to open up additional sections, or I guess the mailing lists of the venue. They have more people on their mailing list for come and check out this show, but they're not coming. So why would that be a factor?
Did you ever watch It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia?
Absolutely, yes. Absolutely.
Do you remember when Dee and one of the guys get addicted to crack? Yeah. And they had the very friendly drug dealer who would sell crack to them for the low price of $200.
Yeah.
That's what's going on with these venue owners. And Tony Khan said, yeah, Tony, come to the Giant Stadium for a Ring of Honor taping. We'll let you use the venue for a minimum of $1 million per day.
Yeah. And the staff's like high-fiving. Dude, there's no one here. Easy night at work. I only had to make fucking 30 hot dogs tonight, man. Let's go.
Tony Khan coming into a venue is like when Ace Ventura was leaving the monks in Ace Ventura 2. They're going, yeah!
Yeah. We're on that RVD 420 pack over here in Minecraft. So the ability to open up additional sections, it's like, well, Tony, you draw 2,000 people. If you go to a 4,000 person building, you have the ability to open up more sections there too. And
that's why
staff for all reasons. Yeah, Tony, they're really happy when you come to town because they haven't got no work to do, bro.
Have you noticed that they haven't announced the number of tickets they've sold for the Australian show?
Yeah, of course. And some guy freaked out on me, was like die white boy and all this, and like I'm not even white, and I'm like, dude, why are you saying all this? All because I just said, I quote tweeted that the ticket sales are low, and there's still 5 months to go, but that's not why they're low, guys. They're comparing them to other tickets that go on sale in other areas and stuff. And I was like, yeah, you have to establish a market and not just put Tony Storm on a poster in order to sell tickets for this giant show. It's crazy to me.
Hey, wait a minute, you're not white?
Well, I am partially, yeah. I'm Canadian, dude. I'm native. I'm also largely Polish as well, so that's I'm mixed.
Well, I accept your apology.
Yeah. Yeah, I had to justify it. Please don't hate me all the way.
But with this Australia show, again, because Tony Khan buys the venue, the promoters don't give it. Like once I've heard allegedly that Tony will spend the money on the venue so that the actual ticket sales is inconsequential, if that's a word.
Yeah.
So he's already paid for the stadium in Australia, so nobody else is losing any money. And that's the problem, where it's like you say whatever you want about Vince, like, yeah, he's on people's heads, but he looked at the budget.
Jesus, man, I wish I had money like this, dude. You would never hear from me. There'd be no Phil and Husey show.
I would never happen. I went to see the new Francis Ford Coppola film, Megalopolis.
Yeah.
Right? And he self-financed that at $120 million. He sold his vineyard or whatever, however you pronounce that, to finance it.
Yeah.
That's and you see that and you go, you stupid! That was $120 million. What are you doing? That was terrible.
Do you know how many boats and whores? $120 million.
Yeah, I could get Bruce Springsteen to live in my house.
Yeah.
Right, like I could literally write him a set list to play during my breakfast, and for $120 million a year. And that's what I say with Tony Khan. It's like, do you know what you could do with that money? Do you know what I could do with it? Me, Jade Cargill, Stephanie Vaquer, going to watch a Bruce Springsteen show at the hip clinic, whatever you call it. Like, that's a good night out. Couple of fart boxes, couple of great songs.
Speaking of craziness, dude, check this out. Swerve Strickland just confirms that AEW's going to Fox. He just says it to this dude right here on camera. So
We're about to move. We're about to get on Fox.
He just said we're about to get on Fox now.
SmackDown's leaving
Because SmackDown's leaving Fox.
Fox, and then we're taking Fox.
And now we're taking Fox.
Fox
And now this guy's talking like here.
and Warner Brothers. It's getting nasty.
He's like, Fox and Warner Brothers we're working with now. It's getting nasty out there.
I'm TNT, TBS, and Fox. We got all three of them things. And Tony Khan lets me do whatever I want. And he owns the
And Tony Khan lets me do whatever the I want. And he owns the Jaguars. Like, these dudes, they're literally just on the fly like, yo, we got this money, Mark, bro. We're going to be on Fox. This guy lets us do whatever we want. Let's go. I can't believe he said this on camera, dude.
Yeah. Swerve's the type of guy who would tell people back in the day, hey, I work in the movie business. It's like, oh, really? Well, what do you do? Oh, I work Sundays at Blockbuster. It's like being on FS1 or whatever their substitute channel is not Fox. If they do get on Fox, my only thought process is Tony Khan's paying for it. If Fox couldn't make money with WWE there, allegedly, they will not make it with AEW. And by the way, this whole stuff about Fox not trying to re-sign WWE isn't true. They did. It's just that they got offered. They weren't willing to go above the $1 billion per year deal or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the way Swerve is looking at that guy. It's like he's trying to make him believe him.
Dude, I know. He's like, who is that guy?
I have no idea.
That's what I'm saying. Like, who's he convincing? Like, who's he just yelling this shit at? Like, is this guy gonna give him money too? No, hey man, or you're not with WWE? Oh no, man, we're with AEW. We're going to Fox, SmackDown. This guy, Tony Khan, lets me do whatever I want, and he owns the Jags. Like, who? What is he selling this guy? What is he telling this dude? You can get in the wrestling business too. What is this conversation? I need to know. And why was he dumb enough to say this on camera? Crazy to me. So, but guys, what if they are actually on Fox, and not just FS1? Husey, what say you?
I would be stunned by that.
Too.
Like, I mean, if they do, I don't think it's going to make any more people watch it than they already were. I really don't see it happening. Like, so if they weren't happy with WWE getting the 2 million rating, why would they want somebody that hasn't had 900,000 in well over a year?
I don't know. I think FS1 though. What if they get on FS1 and they try and tout it like a W? That's just cringe, eh?
Yeah, but that's what they see. The thing about FS1, like, we don't have that over here. Is that even a big channel?
Hell no, dude. Like AEW, if they went on FS1 and they drew the same ratings they're drawing now, even for like Collision or Rampage, that will be like double the numbers FS1 does typically during prime time on their channel. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like a win for FS1 kind of. It's, you know.
That being said, I will say this, that if they do get on another network, at least Tony Khan's got that stupid well, I'm wearing a Max hat and I want to be a WB forever. Like, Warner Brothers as a company is in the worst state it's ever been. Like, ever. I'm 40 in December. It's never been this bad for 40 years. So for them to assume that we're to believe that to get this massive TV deal and all the success for them, it actually makes more sense that Tony would try to take the thing elsewhere.
Next, we'll see him doing interviews in like a Max hat and then a FS1 shirt at the same time. He'll be
he's such a dickhead.
Oh man.
Do you think he actually rehearses how to be a dickhead, or does he just come up with it by himself?
He's just super awkward, dude. He just grew up like with nannies taking care of him, and he just doesn't know. He's not there comes a period in time where you get so rich where you lose touch with reality a little bit, and I don't know. It's not a bad thing if you're rich, if you're that person, but you just see, or like if you're rich your whole life. I can't even imagine what that's like. Your dad invented the bumper. Your whole life, man, you just have people taking care of you. You don't know what it's like to, but I went to ECW in the bingo hall with probably security guards in a limo. And you know what I mean? So there's no, like, he just can't relate to the normal person. And that's why it comes across that way to us. Like he's an alien, because he is.
I'll tell you this, though, because apparently Swerve actually is getting $5 million a year now.
Because exactly. So basically, Meltzer and them stooged it. They're like, it's not quite the Moxley, Monet level or whatever the he's saying. He's like, but it's higher than the other guys who are getting. Yeah, it's in that 3 to 5. If he's getting 3 to 5 a year or whatever the deal is, easily, without question, he's in that range now, which is nuts. Because again, I don't mean to on Swerve, but I don't know if we call Diesel a flop or Bret Hart a flop back in the day, then what was Swerve? That was the worst era, the lowest rated TV, lowest attended shows ever. And I put that more on AEW, but for him to be getting, and then him to say what he said here. So actually, let's bring this up. So he goes on a rant about like how WWE undervalued him and all this, but it's like, who gives a what they value you at? And they're just looking at it, crunching the numbers, and objectively speaking, you were the champ during the worst numbers of AEW, which is never even compared to WWE. But here's him talking some mess. I never listened to this guy, so I'm reacting to this fresh, but I did see some of the quotes.
He invited me on AB to the Apollo Theater to watch the unveiling of the evolution of the black quarterback. And Roger Goodell was there. This is at the Apollo Theater. Roger Goodell was there. I'm watching Michael Strahan on stage, Michael Vick, Jalen Hurts, all talking about evolution.
You pause that a second?
Yeah.
I gotta be honest. See, this is basically the international opinion of America, especially when it comes to this sort of stuff. The obsession with race in America it's really off-putting. I understand that the past is horrible, but when you have Will Smith who's trying to equate slavery with not getting iRobot 2 made, it's like no offense, Will, I think slaves had it worse than you. Obviously I wasn't there when you didn't get iRobot 2, but I would assume being used as a human toilet probably worse than not getting a sequel to an underrated film. And it's just stuff like this where, like, how the why is he talking about racism? What the is racist about this?
I don't know, dude. I have no clue. And yeah, I live in Canada, and that's the perception too. Like it's like, dude, America's just so, I don't know. They're so like galvanized by just that is so silly. Their media focuses on the weirdest. Not to say Canada isn't bad for stuff like that too, you know, but I don't know. I wouldn't be here today if history didn't play out the way it was. Like I said, I'm mixed race. Like, yeah, real bad happened to my ancestors. They're like digging up my ancestors in like unmarked graves right now. That's like a thing like happening in my family and stuff, from like residential schools and stuff like that. So I get it. Like directly has affected my family. But if all the crazy that didn't happen, I wouldn't even be here, and Swerve wouldn't be here making $5 billion, and we don't have time machines to go back. So I don't know, man. I don't know if this helps the now. People need to be focused on what helps now and makes the world better for the future. And I don't know, man. I think like hyper focusing on Vince McMahon's WWE.
But the other thing is that what the problem is, you can't call WWE racist anymore. Vince McMahon is gone.
Yeah, exactly.
The boss is Nick Khan.
It's so progressive. Look at NXT. It's the most diverse and progressive. That's the future. You look at NXT, that's the future of WWE, right? We've seen it play out. It's the most progressive and diverse group of wrestlers ever in the history ever assembled. So, sorry, Husey, go ahead.
No, yeah, like, and The Rock is the boss. Like, so are you calling The Rock and Nick Khan racist? Like, Triple H works for them. And this is the thing that these dicks don't understand, is that Triple H is the head of creative. That's his job, to write the stories and be in charge of the writers. He's not the boss of WWE. He's the visual boss because he's an ex-wrestler. So that's why this whole talking about race and all that, that's all very well and good if you don't work for AEW, which I've seen online called always employing whites. For 5 years before Swerve, AEW was all about white guys in the main event, blonde-haired, blue-eyed white guys, putting each other over. So it's a very hypocritical thing, and that's why there's no credibility to what Swerve says. It's stupid.
Sorry to interrupt again, but you nailed it on the head there. Like, do you remember when Swerve won the title? Or I don't know if you were watching then or whatever, but Swerve won the title, and then the next Wednesday night on Dynamite, they paraded Moxley out there for winning the IWGP title in Japan, and they're like, Moxley's homecoming, and they roll out this big parade. And then they saved Strickland, who's your new AEW world champ. They put him on like Collision or the week after. It was like a week later. They put him on a show after a Miami Heat game during the rollover. And you mean to tell me you're not going to call that out about being some, like, what did they think? Oh, we'll just send the black dudes out there right after the basketball game. Like, to me, we were laughing about that on the show. Like, that's egregious if you're going to call anything out. There's people in my Discord who are like, Tony KK Klon and stuff is what they call him, you know? Like, people point that out more heavily than I do. And I don't blame Swerve for being in the lowest viewed era of AEW. That's well on Tony Khan and the promotional machine and everything. But yeah, let's listen to what Swerve has to say. And a lot of people jumped on his ass about this, but other wrestlers were like coming to his defense. One in particular who was an NIL talent who got fired by WWE during the pandemic. And he's like, they pulled the rug out from under me. And here, his name's
EJ,
Nduka, yeah. So I wasn't even familiar with him, but dude, they laid off everyone. They mostly lay off the NIL people too. Like, everyone on that Next Gen show, other than like one person, has been laid off. They made a whole TV show about them. You know what I mean? So I don't know if this guy was like an NIL guy, was signed for like 2 years, and then like it was a racial thing with him, and also that's Vince's NXT. That's famously when Vince took over NXT, and also it was during the pandemic when everyone got released. They were releasing Bray Wyatt and like that, dude. So I don't know, but anyways, here's Swerve.
All these like struggles that the black quarterback went through, and that like coaches in the league, the infrastructure really thinking like the black man is not capable of playing quarterback because they're not smart enough to call plays and do these things and stuff, and talking about like he's not.
Maybe that happened in football, though. I can't even speak on that. I don't know if there were a bunch of coaches like, I don't know about that. Because a lot of quarterbacks are white. Let's be honest. So don't know about that one. But
he shouldn't be paid this wage. He's above market value. And I'm sitting here like, man, there was an article like a month ago about me getting my new contract, one of the highest contracts in wrestling recently, and I'm paid above market value. I'm like, these are like 50 years apart. And we're still having.
But you are paid above market value because no one else would give you that amount of money, bruv. So that's literally what all that means. Even if you were white, Swerve, I'm telling you, people would go, if right now Orange Cassidy someone's like, we're giving him $2 million, that's above market value, right, guys? We can all agree. So, bro, everyone in AEW gets paid above market value because no one else in the market can pay you that much, and there's no objective data. Dude, there's no objective data that can prove that you are actually worth that much as far as looking at ticket sales, television, ad sales, what we do know from the private company. Now, unless Tony's secretly making $5 billion a year and we don't know about it just through AEW, then just objectively speaking, bro, it has nothing to do with if we're just looking at names and numbers here. You know what I mean? So it is, I don't know, man, that it's kind of frustrating to hear him say this.
Having the same conversations. Right? So I like, we're still like, that's what AEW is beautiful for. And that's what I'm proud to be there. Cause it's like, we're shaking the foundation again, like they did 50 years ago. And we're doing it now with pro wrestling. And if I got to be the person to do that alongside Tony Khan, and we stand strong, I'm like, no, That's our world champion. That's the lead of our company at this moment, and he's going to be the face of the franchise for years to come. And I'm riding with that.
So is Swerve the face of the franchise for years to come? Is that what we're? He's the dude. He's the face of AEW. Then I guess for years to come, he's their Cody Rhodes, is what he's sort of saying here, and he's stooging out the TV deals. What's going on?
Is there any actual proof of people saying that he's above market value? And the thing is, even if it was said, they weren't saying it about him. Mm-hmm. They were saying it about the AEW pay scale, because there's people from AEW who will go to make indie dates and they're like, yeah, sure, I could do it for 20 grand. And they're like, 20 what? We can't give you 20 grand. And it's like, oh, well, that's what well, that's what I would work for, because AEW is overpaying everybody. Right. All the whites are being overpaid too, Swerve. Yeah. So it's not just that you are specifically being focused on. Problem is, people will get in your head and they will tell you what you want to hear to get you offended. Like this is such a dumb, frustrating issue, and plus, is he really trying to say that WWE doesn't have any black millionaires?
No, dude, they made a bunch, of different, all kinds of colored millionaires. You know what I mean? So
like New Day are all millionaires.
Bro, yeah.
Lashley had one of the biggest contracts in WWE, thanks to Vince personally. And I just think that it's I get why he would be frustrated, and I understand why he would be putting his own company over, because they're paying him millions. But I think on the bigger picture, he's not really that informed on the issue as he may think he is.
Yeah, they said the same thing about Garcia too. Oh, he's overvalued. It was like the same article, and it's because I guess like WWE don't want to pay Garcia the $500,000 probably Tony Khan's paying that kid. EJ Nduka, though, he's like, say it louder for the people in the back. Other side refused to give us opportunities. But like, why does who is this guy? I've never even heard of him till now. And then he went on and on, and I'm not going to read this whole thing. He gave us a novel. Jesus. And I'm not, came into this industry from NFL. Okay, bro, they cut NFL guys all the time. They pulled the rug from underneath my family and I. Yes, it sucks that you gambled on yourself, took an opportunity to move somewhere, and it didn't probably, and then it didn't work out in the wrestling world, bro, Not to be like, oh, suck it up, Buttercup, but none of that happened because you're a black dude, I assure you. Or maybe Vince is walking around because there's the stories he thinks he thought the one dude was Shelton Benjamin or whatever, so there are those stories. But I just don't think it's like now you're just talking in hindsight and like you're going hard at WWE when this is like an old issue. Even Vince too. He put the title on black dudes and stuff. It's not like it wasn't that, bro. It's just that you probably, no offense, you just weren't that good to where you weren't progressing as fast as some of these other guys. Look at Tiffany Stratton in 1 year. She's main roster ready. You're there for 2 years, and I never even heard of you, bro. And they released a bunch of people during that time. And I'm not hating on you, but goddamn, that's the truth. And he's being paid by Tony too. He's on the roster, I believe, in ROH or something. So,
yeah, I think he was in MLW, if I remember his name. But the thing is with one of the things that was a shame when you look at Big E.
Yeah,
he was supposed to have a much bigger, longer run, but he just got completely over by the fact that his run really began as the world was reopening, but also so was Monday Night Football. So people were like, why would I go to a WWE show? I'm going to the NFL. I've been stuck in the house for 2 years. Like Big E versus John Cena was supposed to happen at WrestleMania, and Big E was supposed to go over. Like, he was meant to be champion for a long time, but it sucks. He gets over, and it's nothing to do with race. It's to do with horrible timing.
Yeah,
and then of course broken neck, which shut everything down.